Hey everybody, this is Tyler, aka Grand Lethal 16, coming at you with my very first interview with a local Seattle indie developer. Would you be so kind as to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dan Holbert. I'm a developer for Dissident Logic. I help make the game Paperbound for Steam and PS4.
Cool. And I'd love for you to tell me a little bit more about Paperbound, maybe the platforms it's on, what inspired you to make it.
It's currently on PlayStation 4 and on Windows PC through Steam and through GOG and through Humble Store. So there's a couple of different places to pick it up. And I guess I should say a little bit about what it is first for your viewers who don't know. It's a local multiplayer, up to 4-player kind of battle game. I like to say it's Smash Brothers on crack. 4 players running around the screen, flipping upside down, running on walls, doing crazy stuff with gravity, and it's super fast and frenetic, and it's wacky, but it gets super tense and competitive too. And it's called Paperbound because it's themed on old books like Journey to the Center of the Earth, so that's where the environments and the characters mostly come from.
And then what part of making Paperbound did you enjoy working on?
There are a lot of different things. I was the designer, programmer. I did kind of team management. I did a lot of promotion stuff, taking it to different events. The design and the programming were my favorite parts. It was fun to collaborate with the team members, although I was so overwhelmed. It would have been nice if there could have been someone else to kind of take on a little bit more of that managerial role. Because it's just all around when you're kind of starting something from nothing, and there's just so much work to do, and there's always more than you can do, but somehow you find a way to do it. One thing that was really, if it was physically exhausting but emotionally uplifting, was taking it to events like PAX or South by Southwest or things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting there and you're standing for hours, some people are lucky enough they can swap out quite frequently, but sometimes I was the only one doing it for up to 3 days, just standing and talking and losing my voice. And so you feel physically really beaten down, but when you see people play and you see the smiles on their faces, it's just a really great feeling to know that people are enjoying this thing that you helped create.
Of course. Hey, I've gone to a lot of cons, and even if I'm just standing in line for autographs or to play a game, that alone gets exhausting before you actually have to engage with folks directly, person by person. So I feel you there.
Thank you.
No problem. What part of making Paperbound took longer than you expected it to?
That's a good question. This sounds maybe a little should be more explicit than it was, but when I made it originally on PC, and then I found out there's a way I can bring it to PlayStation, there was quite a lot of work to do just to get that up and running. Mm-hmm. And I'd say, I know some people have took even more time from them to do it. For me, it was 3 to 4 months of just solid PlayStation work to get it not only running and not crashing and running at the correct frame rate and everything, right? Mm-hmm. Something that was really important to me was for it to run at a solid 60 FPS. Mm-hmm. So that took, quite a bit of time. And it was so, some people think about a game engine might work on different platforms, and it's just, press a button. But really, there's a lot of stuff you have to do still to make it meet all the requirements.
Mm-hmm. All right. What's the craziest gameplay moment you've seen in Paperbound, either when you or someone else was playing?
A couple of days ago, I had a friend visiting from Ireland who I hadn't seen in a couple of years, 1 year, and every time he comes, we play Paperbound, and this time, and we like the capture the quill mode, which is basically capture the flag, but kind of a little paper themed.
Yep.
And that's our favorite mode, and there were only 3 of us, so I said, well, I'll play you guys 1v2, and so and capture the flag, it's pretty tough to do an uneven team size, especially 2-to-1 ratio, but
oh yeah,
it was about 50-50 which one of us won, so I was feeling pretty good about that. It was really intense. Actually, that reminds me now of a time when that same friend and another guy we were all playing, and one guy, he got so sweaty you could just see pit stains coming down.
Oh no.
I was damn. All right.
Dropping his controller. No, that's good. That harkens back to that old school, like when you're mentioning the localized multiplayer, harkens back to the old Mario Party, sessions. Breaking controllers, sweating,
Yeah.
living off Cheetos and Mountain Dew half the night. Oh yeah.
My friends and I used to play GoldenEye all through the night.
Oh, I used to get mad. I would get some of the best weapons you could imagine. Machine guns, AKs, and then someone would kill me at the karate shop. Come around a corner and it killed me. It killed me literally and, emotionally there.
Emotionally.
Oh yeah. Do you have any favorite character in any backstory and what inspired you to add them in? Anything like that?
I mean, most of the characters came from the different books that you see in the game, and then also some cameos from other indie games, like Juan from Guacamelee and Captain Viridian from VVV.
Mm-hmm.
There are really a lot of cool, interesting designs that our character artists Mike came up with, and I'm always switching back and forth. Who I like the most? I like the Skull Soldier probably. He's just this really kind of twisted, outlandish design that's just really entertaining to me. A little dark, but like cartoony dark.
I loved the monk. He just looks so cool. So I tried him, and I've tried Ninjetti. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Yep, Ninjetti.
Ninjetti. Yep. I've got to try the others still, but I've tried those too. It's been pretty fun. Okay. So now that we've talked a little bit about Paperbound, I do have some more questions to ask. How did you get into the video game developing?
It was something that I really wanted to do from a young age. I think I was 13 when I decided that's what I wanted to do. And I was lucky that my high school offered computer programming classes. And so we did that, and for the project at the end of the semester or year, I forget what kind of system we were on back in high school, but we got to make a game, and so mine was called Revenge of Poopy Pants. And that was like the name I would use to tease my brother was Poopy Pants. And so it was like a photo I got of him.
Oh no!
I digitized it it was like a Galaga or Space Invader style game where we just shot his face.
Oh wow!
And I got an A.
I bet. How did he feel about it?
I don't remember if I ever showed him or not.
Oh no! Well, if he hears this video or sees this video,
oh my gosh,
might get a random call.
But maybe. So yeah, I did that, and I got into started doing Quake mods. Quake was a really popular game in the late '90s, early 2000s, and really learned a lot there about programming and about game development and game design. And then I went to school for computer science, and just got it. When I was about ready to graduate, I put my resume around, and I had a lot of stuff to show for what I'd done. I didn't just do my schoolwork, I did other stuff on my own time to game related and graphics related stuff, because that was my particular specialty at the time, was graphics programming.
Okay. What are the biggest challenges you've faced when developing games?
I'd say marketing is a big challenge that a lot of people, I think, don't give enough credence to. Some people think if you just make a great game, then it's going to be successful, and I don't agree with that at all. There have been plenty of games that have, that I've liked or other people have liked that just known as not many people have heard of. There have been games even that have gotten critical success, reviewers are like, oh yeah, 9 out of 10. But still just somehow it didn't catch on, didn't make a lot of money. There's one game, what was it? It was called Nova 111, and it got PAX 10 and all these other awards, so many awards. Everybody thought it was going to be a huge success, and then I don't really know why, but for some reason it just didn't sell as many copies as people wanted, as people thought it would. Not even a fraction of what people thought it was going to do. And so when I say marketing, I mean a few things. Most people think of marketing, they think of advertising, and that's a definite component of it. But there's also marketing in terms of making sure the game that you make fits the market. Because you can make an awesome thing, but if it just doesn't fit what people are looking for or how they play or where they play, then you're going to be hurting, in terms of being able to get copies out there in people's hands.
Making sure it hits the right market.
Yeah, I mean, that was something that I experienced with Paperbound, where I made a local multiplayer game and I loved it. I had so much fun, and if only just for all the nights and days I've spent playing with friends, it was, and having a great time, it was worth it. But it didn't, make a huge amount of money. And the biggest thing there, I think, is it's really hard to do a local only multiplayer game. Like gamers these days expect everything to be online. In fact, even though like you try to be clear in your messaging, sometimes you get like a negative Steam review being like, "Oh, fun game, but there's no online, so thumbs down."
Well, if you say it clearly, I mean, goodness.
Yeah, I think it's just that people don't look that closely because they just assume because
it is Steam.
Yeah. Yeah, like that was, I would say, a failure of mine and kind of what you'd call product market fit, which sounds very corporate-y, but it is something you have to think about when you're trying to, make some money to live off of while you're pursuing your artistic endeavors. Where that's actually probably the biggest piece of advice I would give to someone looking to make a game is don't make a local-only multiplayer game. Like, single player is good and online multiplayer is good, both with their own set of huge challenges. Like, doing online multiplayer is a huge challenge. But I think it's something. One of those two things is something you got to do to have a decent chance of success in today's market.
For sure. Sorry, I was taking a little bit of notes. That's some great advice, and I had a question about advice, but since you've already covered it,
yeah.
Is there anything beyond what you just covered? Is there what is one thing about being an indie developer you'd want people to know? Something they don't necessarily know, or they probably have misconceptions about?
Well, if you look at my head, you can see I've lost my hair.
Oh no!
That was before I started the game. I shaved it. You will work harder than you've ever worked in your life. Like, you will lose sleep. I worked 7 days a week, like almost all day long for a year and a half to make this thing. So it's not for the faint of heart. You have to be able to put so much of yourself into it and then realize that probably in the end you're not going to make any money, because the vast majority of games don't. I'd also say avoid mobile for the most part. I don't think it can happen, but that's like all the markets are getting more and more crowded.
Saturated.
Yeah, saturated, which makes it harder to stand out as a voice among the crowd. Mm-hmm. But even amped up times 100 on the mobile market. Not to mention that just the types of games that usually succeed are ones that have large amounts of resources to do like analytics stuff and all these different things to really make it. There are of course notable exceptions like Crossy Road, but for the most part, that's how things go.
Yeah, or they resemble a casino game. And they let you plug in money to keep playing, things like that, just because they feed off addiction.
Yeah, well, I've said before that arcade games were the original microtransactions.
They were, and we don't demonize them, though. We really don't.
No, we don't. But I think I guess we don't, maybe because we didn't know anything different, or maybe just the exact particulars of it are a little different, where it's like, basically what that is, just made a game that was really fucking hard, so you had to die, so you'd pay to continue. Have you ever played the first Contra? Fuck, that was hard.
Yeah, it was. That's why they had the Konami code. Didn't cost any quarters, you just got to your stick.
I remember when I was a kid, my one of my good friends, his dad was the manager at a bowling alley that had an arcade, so every once in a while he would get the key to unlock free credits. It was
awesome.
It was pretty good. But I don't know, a lot of stuff these days is kind of like that, except it's pay to continue is a little bit different than pay to unlock the thing that makes you better.
We call that a game genie or an action replay.
Yeah. Well, and just in a lot of mobile games, it's you can get the loot drop that gives you the awesome weapon or whatever by paying for it. Which isn't really something that I particularly care for.
Didn't exist back in the day, and I mean, you don't really necessarily earn that next level, so
yeah,
takes out some of the appeal, I imagine.
Yeah, when you pay to continue, it's at least like, okay, you have to still do the thing on your own. It doesn't make the game specifically easier for you. It just means, I guess, the better you are, the fewer times you have to continue.
Yeah. I think the one that killed quarters for me was Metal Slug. I don't remember which one. I think it was probably like the Series 1 machine, and that one would just kill my piggy bank.
Yeah. There's some games that I have a lot of nostalgia for. And have you ever been to like a barcade? And they'll often have like, it's like a bar with video games in it, basically.
Yeah, I've been to GameWorks for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like that. And there's some that have like a lot of old retro games. Some that I played when I was younger. And sometimes you play some of those and you're like, yeah, this isn't as good as I remember it being when I was younger. Like I remember you really liking the Simpsons arcade game when I was younger.
Side-scrolling beat 'em up?
Yeah.
Oh no, that game actually is good. It is. Yeah. That one is. It's not Turtles in Time, but it is good.
Turtles in Time. Oh man, that was a good one. Yeah. I guess that's all I got to say about that.
No worries. Do you have any other tips? I know I had like a couple questions, and because of some of your answers, they seem slightly redundant. But do you have any other tips for anyone looking to independently develop their own game? Maybe should they seek out a publisher? Should they look at crowdfunding? Is there any like other tips or yes or no's you would suggest?
It's tough to have like a one size fits all advice. Crowdfunding is tough, but I do think it could be a good way as to have sort of a litmus test for, is your game something that's going to appeal to people?
Mm-hmm.
And if you try to do a campaign and it fails, it's a way to think about, okay, now, what can we, why did it fail and what can we do to make it better in the future? And some of that can be part of the game idea and presentation, and some of that can also be some of your efforts to promote the campaign as well. Because, they always say you have to put in, more time planning it than you actually do executing, say, a Kickstarter campaign. For me, I think the next game that I do, I will probably seek some sort of publisher or investment or something of that nature. I think it would have been really difficult for me before, since I didn't really have, much of a name for myself, or like I can't point to a thing like, yeah, this was my project that I completed and put out there, and it was, well received.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I at least, I have Paperbound, that's a little something to stand on. It's definitely
sure.
like really hard to get someone to give you their money to make a thing. But
do you think that's because the mobile market, with so many people rushing to it now, a lot of folks are more hesitant?
They're just, I don't know if it relates to the mobile market in particular, but there are just so many people trying to make games. Mm-hmm. And some of them have, lots of experience. Like I remember going to a talk from some of the guys who made Adrift, which is this sort of VR space game
mm-hmm.
That was done in the Unreal Engine. And they went to a lot of different meetings with different publishers before they actually got a deal done. Like over 50 or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, VR is kind of new, though.
Yeah. You can play it in non-VR mode as well.
Oh, okay.
But VR, I think, was the one that really kind of gives you that wow moment when you're pitching to someone like, yeah, just put this on and experience it. So yeah, more advice. You got to have a great team. You got to think about the appeal of your game. What is the hook? What's the thing? A lot of times it's the art. Sometimes it's the sound. Sometimes it's the gameplay mechanics. But I think in our world where like the first thing that people see is a screenshot or a video, like just having a really compelling art style is critical. And that doesn't have to be. What's awesome about indie games is people have found out that you don't have to have like a hyper realistic, hyper detailed art style to wow people. Like, you're not going to make BioShock or something that's just like, super high end or Skyrim, right? But you can do really cool, interesting styling on a game to draw people in.
The expectations are different, so it gives more leniency for personality in your game, perhaps.
Yeah, I'd say expectations are different, but I don't know that gamers really care. For the most part, who's making it. They just see a thing they like or don't. Obviously some people are more looking to find indie games than others. Like some people just, they know Madden, they know Call of Duty, and they don't really look beyond that. So, there's a certain, subgroup of gamers who seek this stuff out. But then,
if there's one tip, it's think outside the box and choose what you want your appealing hook to be and go with that, because there's all different ways to go about it from an indie perspective.
Yeah, know what the thing is that is the thing that's going to make people see your game and go, oh, I want that. And then make sure that, like, you're probably going to take, have an idea about that, but it could be wrong, and to be able to sort of test whether you're right or not.
Bingo. Okay. I have a couple more questions before I open it up. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you see yourself making a Paperbound 2? Do you see yourself collaborating with a group project?
It's really hard to say exactly where it'll be. I want to do more games. Right after Paperbound shipped, I did a little bit of contract work for a little while, and now I'm working on some HoloLens stuff, which is HoloLens, not Holland, stuff that's really fun and great to work on. And I'll probably do that for a few years, and then I've got some ideas for a next game I want to make, and I would really love to actually just build up a studio where I, myself and some other people can all collaborate and pump out some awesome, great stuff, and to be, I think almost any person who's into designing games has more ideas than they can possibly ever create. So it would be amazing to be able to get to a point where we could have like a small studio that has a couple small games going on at the same time, like being developed in parallel, just to really put out a lot of cool stuff and get a lot of those ideas that are in the brain out there in reality existing. It's a bit of a, pipe dream of mine, and we'll see how it goes. But at any rate, I'll be making some more games.
Awesome. And then finally, last couple of questions. Is there anything that you found that you really love about the Seattle indie scene as far as support for game developers?
It's the best I've seen. There's some I haven't seen, but it's really amazing just how many people there are and come together and do stuff to help each other out and help each other learn. There was a Kickstarter for a game called Potions that was looking like it wasn't quite going to make its goal, and then a bunch of local people came together and did like a Twitch stream where they're eating hot chili peppers.
On Twitter, I remember, or Twitch, yeah, I saw that.
Crazy stuff, and they got the goal, like with like an hour on the clock, they reached the goal, and it was that's really a testament to this community here in Seattle.
That's a good look, of course, for the community and the industry, even on a local or bigger scale. And then, of course, if anyone wanted to check out Paperbound or anything you're working on, do you have a website where you'd refer them or tell them to check out?
Yeah, just go to paperboundgame.com. Got the video, the screenshots, links to, different places you can get it. And if anybody has any questions about it, they're free to shoot me an email, which all that, email address is on the website and everything.
And do you ever Twitch stream periodically, Paperbound with buddies or anything?
I haven't done that. Maybe next time I boot it up on PlayStation, I'll do that.
Nice. Hey, always something to look forward to as it gets colder and no one wants to go outside. Got to get on that Twitch.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to chat with me. Tell me a little bit more about what you've been working on lately, more about Paperbound and some of the inspiration. Do you have anything else you'd want to leave out there? Maybe any shout-outs to any other people from your team, things like that?
Well, everybody on the team was so awesome. I don't want to leave anybody out because there's some, but the main, the awesome people who were kind of like the core people who were there for most of the time and really put in the hours. There's Chris White from White Noise Wave who did all the music and most of the sound effects. A really awesome guy who lives in England actually. Paperbound was developed remotely over the internet. Like we didn't have an office we went to.
Nice.
There's Mike Smith, who was really dedicated for a long time, who did all the character art. Josh Sorensen, who did all the levels. Lacey, not all the levels, a lot of the levels. Lacey Frazier did a lot of the levels as well. My friend Dave did a lot of animation, and then a few other people did pitched in for a little stuff here and there. A guy named Frank Silas, he did the sort of opening desk thing that all the books are on when you first boot up the game in that 3D scene.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many people who helped out in so many ways. And that's another thing is just that when you do something like this, you realize like how much you feel grateful for how much people are willing to help out and pitch in. And because it's really hard to do it alone.
Of course. Hey, thanks again for taking time out of your day to chat it up with me, to talk about Paperbound, tell me more about the Seattle Indies community.
All right, cool.
All right, take it easy. Thank you so much. Have a great day, my man.
All right, later.